One of the reasons Captain Brandon Tainer and Detective Eric-Bentz wanted to speak with us for our coverage is because they want people to know there is no shame in seeking out mental health and therapy. Life gets tough sometimes, and you don't have to face it alone.
I learned that I wasn't quite myself, and I took the department's resources and addressed that. So, I push that to everybody, police officers, military, type A personalities. We don't need anybody to help us with anything. We can deal with everything. That's not the case with mental health. You can address those issues. And with my situation, I went from it being something that I literally was constantly seeing specific images to it's almost like I read a book. And this thing that I lived through was actually like a story I read. So it's much more distant from me. When July comes around, maybe a little bit closer to the front of my mind, but I can honestly say it does not affect my life negatively.
But then as time goes on, a few years later, I would still think about it and things would come up, and then I had some other cases that were really hard on me. So then we have First Responders Support Services. I went to them for some help and saw one of their great counselors and for a time being, and it helped me dramatically. That's the part I'm glad about, this coming back up at 10 years, is to kind of share that part of my journey and maybe encourage anybody else that whether it was this case specifically or someone that I don't even know, that I don't even work with, but I always encourage people, even if you think everything's going okay, if you do something this significant, it's worth talking to a professional. And I think this day and age, there's not any shame anymore or fear to do that, and our department has been really great at making sure that those services are available.
Unfortunately, the Bever family murders are not the worst Broken Arrow has ever seen. It was eclipsed 7 years later in 2022 by a family murder-suicide in which 8 were found dead. Police say Brian and Brittany Nelson killed themselves after killing their 6 children in October 2022 on their home on South Hickory near Elm in Houston. After killing their children and before they killed themselves, the house was set on fire and first responders would make the gruesome discovery inside.
Right there on the scene, we saw several firefighters with just pain and anguish on their eyes. There were tears shed on the scene, and everybody wants to think that, police and fire are immune from that, and really we're not.
There were some first responders who went to the Nelson family scene who also responded to the Bever home 7 years before. Broken Arrow police say murder, suicides, and family issues are a problem with the city, but they are very hard to detect and prevent because they all happen in the privacy of homes. As always, there is 988 24/7 if you have suicidal thoughts or any problems you would like to talk to someone about.